The ending of Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald is shocking. It left us with so many questions and confusion. It's obvious that the story didn't end there, as the new Fantastic Beasts movie is coming out in 2021. There will be more to see, and also some appearance of many characters that we knew. It's fun to meditate, especially given that J.K. Rowling is a fan of dropping the out clue. So here in this video, we're gonna see things that could totally happen in Fantastic Beasts 3. Nagini's fate. After learning that Lord Voldemort serpent Nagini used to be a woman in the Crimes of Grindelwald's dramatic final trailer, fans were expecting her to have a sizable role in the movie. Well, Nagini has no more than 5 lines in the movie and spends most of her time looking worried, standing slightly behind Credence Barbon. She has so little presence, in fact, that it's curious as to why Rowling had to include her at all. The only way this can be correct is if Nagini becomes an integral part of this Frankie's plot going forward. As a Maldectus, she carries a blood curse that would eventually lead her to remaining a snake forever. But it's bound to be interesting to see how she becomes Lord Voldemort's servant, something that Claudia Kim herself told us she's excited to explore. Credence's true origins. In the Crimes of Grindelwald, the Obscurious orphan Credence Barbon happened to be known as Aurelius Dumbledore. At the same time, it's implied that Barbon is Albus Dumbledore's brother. It's kinda complex, particularly when you learn that Albus' father Percival was impersonating Azkaban in the early 1890s for attacking 3 muggles, and later died there. Elsewhere, his mother Kindra was killed by his sister, who lost proper control over her magical abilities in 1899. There is always a chance that Barbon could be older than his character appears, but it still seems a little unlikely. Is there a time turner at play, or could Percival Dumbledore somehow have fathered a child during his spell at Azkaban? Of course, it's possible that Grindelwald is lying to lost and venerable Credence, but the phoenix, which is drawn to him in the scene, indicates not. Only time will give us some much needed answers. Seeing Voldemort's parents. Voldemort's mother died before the event of Fantastic Beasts, but Tom Riddle Sr. is definitely alive and well. Enter Tom Sr., who would definitely have some stories. It's fair to assume now that his Frankies will pass through the epic Grindelwald-Dumbledore duel of 1945. That's almost a decade after Dumbledore visited an orphaned psychopath named Tom Marvolo Riddle and told him that he was a wizard who belonged to Hogwarts. Given that Tom Riddle Sr. died at the hand of his son in 1943, meaning before the end of Fantastic Beasts events, Dumbledore destroying the Blood Pact and fight Grindelwald. We all know that Albus Dumbledore ends up with the Elder One in the Crimes of Grindelwald, and it sounds Rowling has written into Fantastic Beasts lore that Dumbledore physically can't find Grindelwald because the men made a blood pact in their teens never to attack one another. But towards the end of the film, one of Newt's nephews steals the silver vial, preserving their united blood, so it's safe to assume that Dumbledore and co. will find a way to destroy it, voiding the pact and making their obligated duel a possibility. World War II. Grindelwald is canonically a seer and has the ability to see into the future. He uses the threat of a second world war to encourage his fellow witches and wizards to support his dream of magical folks dominating muggles. If the third film is going to be set in the 1930s, then World War II may play a part in the movie, while the infamous war began in the later part of the decade. We know that the entire Fantastic Beasts series will conclude in 1945 when Dumbledore and Grindelwald duel, married with the fact that some of it will likely take place in Austria, a country that was annexed with Nazi Germany during the war, due to Grindelwald's castle being situated there, and it seems possible that it's come up. Viktor Krum's grandfather. This one isn't really interesting or would add a lot to the movie, but during Bill and Fleur Wedding, Krum noticed that Xenophilius Lovegood was wearing the symbol that had come to be associated with the dark wizard Gellert Grindelwald. In conversation with Harry Potter, he expressed the desire to duel him for wearing the symbol, Bathilda because it was Fleur Wedding. Harry attempted to assure him that Xenophilius probably thought it meant something beyond what Krum associated with. The reason why Krum was mad about it is that Grindelwald killed Krum's grandfather before, so Krum felt extremely angry to see the symbol of someone who killed his grandfather. So we can assume that the scene of Grindelwald killing Krum's grandfather can have an appearance in the movie. Quennie's fate. In the Crimes of Grindelwald, she makes some morally questionable choices that go completely against her character. The film's final act sees her actually join Grindelwald's side, as she thinks it will mean she'll be able to eventually freely marry Jacob, Jacob doesn't tag along despite her pleading for him to join her, meaning that she loses the one thing she's trying to gain in the process. It's baffling and rushed, so we'll definitely need to see her motivations explained in the Fantastic Beasts 3. Will it be revealed that she was under the Imperius curse? And why is she so important to Grindelwald? Does it have something to do with the Listerine family? The location of the movie. While Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Him took place entirely in New York City, and the Crimes of Grindelwald see scenes play out in London and Paris, Fantastic Beasts 3 will reportedly see Newt Scamander and co. travel to Rio de Janeiro. Rowling hinted that the film will be set in the Brazilian city on Twitter, way back in October 2016. A user asked her how many Fantastic Beasts movies she intends there will be, to which she implied 5 in 5 different languages. It seems fair to assume that 5 and 6 make reference to the first and second films locations, but if Rio is the next destination, 5 probably implies to the third film too. It's known that Gellert Grindelwald built a castle in Istria, which we saw a look in the closing moments of Fantastic Beasts 2, so it's likely that a large part of the film will be set there as well, at some point on this evidence. Seeing Bathilda Bagshot. The noted magical historian and author of A History of Magic is one of the only people who knew Albus Dumbledore and his family before the tragic end, including Albus' connection with her nephew Gellert Grindelwald. It actually makes sense for Bathilda to be alive, present and involved in the central conflict of this franchise. Seeing brothers together. Throughout the Crimes of Grindelwald, we are told that Newt Scamander and his older brother Theseus don't really get on, despite them seeming like they don't really mind each other all that much. Theseus is an order for the Ministry of Magic, and therefore likes orders and rules. Newt, on the other hand, can think of nothing worse than someone calling the shots. But when an awful tragedy affects them both during the film's final act, Newt reveals to his brother that he's picked a side and will therefore fight Grindelwald alongside him going forward. We expect the pair to grow closer as they attempt to take down the Dark Wizard and avenge Lethal Lestrange.